Good morning, parents. Mr. Barker here, and I just wanted to shoot you guys a quick update video of what's been going on in our class, some important things to take note of, and just to touch base and hopefully relieve some stress if you're feeling any stress about things at the moment. So the first thing I want to mention is that last week all of my classes, and actually yesterday for my A-Day 8th graders, we've taken our first test of this quarter. Now there will be 2 tests at least each quarter. There's going to be one more this quarter. But this first test was pretty basic. It was over how well your child can read a short story, read it cold, on their own, and then, in their own words, summarize the key events in that story using what we call the somebody wanted but so then summarizer. So they're essentially, highlighting the main characters, the conflict, the climax, the resolution, all the key story arc points within that story and how well they can do that. Now, for the most part, most of the kids did well, did really great. But there were a few kids that struggled, that scored in the 60s or below, and those kids are going to get a chance to go back over their assignments. I'm going to hopefully have a chance to sit down with each one of them in a Google Meet soon, talk about, go over their test, talk about what they did well, talk about what they could improve on, and each kid's going to get a chance to take a test B. And that's something I want to talk about. So for each one of my tests that I give, there's always going to be a test B provided. All right, and there's also going to be seminar time provided for those students to come in to take those test Bs, to come in to get that remediation, that one-on-one help to go over their tests if they didn't do too well on them. And it's going to be from here on out, Monday through Friday, from 1:25 to 2:10. That's when I'm going to provide this seminar time for that extra focus for the kids that need it. And it's going to be the exact same time in the day that the blended classes are doing their seminar. So I know none of the kids have a class between 1:25 and 2:10. So each student should be available to meet with me in that seminar if I request them, or if they simply want to come meet with me if they have questions of their own that they want to have answered. So every day, starting today, seminar is going to be open. There'll be a link to that Google Meet in the stream of each of my classrooms for you or your child to enter into, and I'll be available for that entire period of time to answer any questions, to relieve any stress, or to help one-on-one with anything that a student needs help with. So like I was saying, all of my tests are revisable, and there's always a test B provided. Every student gets at least 2 shots at getting the grade that they want. Now, something to note, students that score below a 70% are going to always take priority, meaning if your child scored a 69 or lower, I'm going to, starting this afternoon, I'm going to send out seminar requests to them in an email. And it's going to be a Google form that they fill out. And they tell me what day they would like to come in so I can put them on my schedule and be expecting them. And that way I don't have a whole bunch of kids, in one day taking up all of my time. I can kind of, section them out so that I can, give each kid the time that they need. And then that's going to give your child a chance to meet with me. We can go over their test. I can point out the things they need to do better. I can point out the things they did well. I can help them with the proof of practice assignment that they have to take in order to earn that test B. And then we can schedule, after all that's done, we'll be able to schedule a day for them to come back into seminar and then take that test B with my supervision. That way, while they're taking that test, if they get stuck or need any extra help, I can help them with it. All right, because the goal is I don't want your child to score lower on their second test attempt than they did on their first test attempt. Now, for the kids who scored 70 or above, they can complete the proof of practice assignment independently, but they will not take priority, because if they scored a 70% or above, that says to me that they understand the content well enough, that they showed competence, they showed some form of mastery, whether it be a low form or 100% being a high form of mastery. But the kids that scored 70% or above, they are not going to take priority, so they'll have to go through this process on their own. But when they do earn that test B, I will request them to come into the seminar and take it with my supervision. That way I can help them if necessary. So the proof of practice assignments, I'm going to go over with the kids today, but they look like this. So for each class period, if you go to classwork, there's the topics tab over here. After each test, and you notice right here was the test, W4TR test summary. After each test, I'm going to post a proof of practice assignment to go with that test. And that'll be, you can kind of tell which ones go with which by the standard number. So RL72 goes with this test here, which is RL72. So we go to the proof of practice assignment, and the kids will knock this out. The proof of practice assignment is typically pretty simple, and it's going to generally give them a chance to go over whatever the test was, but in a more rudimentary, kind of broken down way to hopefully help them see kind of the bigger picture. And once they knock this out, they'll get as many chances as they need to score a perfect 100% on this. And once they get that 100%, then they will earn that test B. I'll shoot them a request to pick a day to come in. They'll come into my seminar meet. They'll take the test B. All right, now, like I said, for the kids that scored below a 70%, they're going to do this proof of practice with my supervision. That way I can help them answer any questions they may have and really make sure they understand what it is that they didn't quite grasp that first time through, so that by the time they've completed that proof of practice and they've completed that test B and hopefully scored higher on that second attempt than they did on that first attempt, that they understand the content and they're ready to move on to the next standard that we have to attack. All right. So if you see a low grade in the grade book for your kiddo, if you see below a 70%, don't worry. I have a list already made. I'm going to start sending out the kids, and I'll probably CC the parents in these emails as well, a request form, and then hopefully by Wednesday, Thursday, kids will start signing up for days and coming in. And my goal is hopefully by the end of next week, those kiddos that need to retake will all have met with me, gone over their tests, done the proof of practice, done their test Bs, and had those test grades improved in the grade book. That is the goal. Now, moving on, map testing. In that email I sent out to the few parents whose children hadn't finished map testing as of yet, I lied, I didn't mean to, but we're going to actually start redoing map tests today. Today for 8th grade, so 8th graders will get a chance to finish today and tomorrow, while the 7th graders, they will get a chance to finish on Wednesday. All right, so I am providing a little bit more class time today. For the 8th graders, that's probably going to mean they're going to have more work, because the other 8th graders in the class that have finished, I'm going to go ahead and give them an assignment where they go through an ed puzzle of me talking about some high points in chapters 1 through 10 of The Giver, and they have to complete some questions as they go through that book talk video. So for the kids who still need to finish their map tests, they're going to still have to go back and complete that assignment as well. So like I told the kids the other day, by not completing your map test on time, and I gave 2 full class periods last week for the kids to finish, which in my experience in a classroom setting has been plenty of time. Now I know there were lots of technical issues getting many of the kids signed in and everything, but like I said in that email, I noticed a lot of kids that would get on there, answer 2 or 3 questions, and then just never show any progress. They would stay stuck on like question 3 or 4 for an hour and a half. So that's where that email came in. Hopefully, if you received that, then you're gonna, be aware that your kid needs to get that test finished, because the longer that it takes for them to get finished, the lower their score is probably going to be, because it's so drawn out. And like today, it's going to probably add more work to their plate, more stuff for them to do, and more stress, on their shoulders. So if you are one of the parents that received that email, please, 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 I'm begging you, help me out with that. Encourage your child, watch over their shoulder, make sure they're staying focused, make sure they're getting that thing done, because the data that those map tests give us as teachers, particularly in our 7th and 8th grade PLCs, that data helps us kind of decide what it is we need to get to your kid, as far as where they struggle, where they're strong, and things of that nature. Well, the electricity just blinked. Glad we didn't lose internet though. Now, if you did not receive an email, if you have no idea what I'm talking about, then you don't have to worry, because your kiddo is already finished with the map test, and we are moving on down the road to other more important things. All right? Now, like I said in that email, a little bit more, these map tests have to be done by the end of the month, so we have 8 days, and that's why I'm getting a bit stressed, because I believe at this point I have about 18 to 20 kids that still haven't finished. And like I said in that email, with the technical issues, I'm not really able to monitor and go guardian as much as I would like, because I'm spending most of my time working with kids and troubleshooting, just trying to get the stinking website to allow them to start the test. So once again, parents, I need your help with getting your children to finish this test if you are one that received an email. Lastly, revising assisted assignments is something that I've made all of your students aware of. So pretty much every other assignment that I've provided this year has been assisted. The tests that I gave last week and yesterday are the only in the first unassisted grade in the grade book. And the assisted assignments, though, they're all practice for tests. They're all practice for standards that we are going to eventually assess. And the only thing that I provide the kids that is not revisable are our reading quizzes. So if I assign, 7th graders to read chapters 6 and 7 of The Outsiders, we're going to have a quiz over chapters 6 and 7, and that's just a one and done thing, because that's essentially a reading check to hold the kids accountable to make sure that they read. Same thing for eighth graders. I assign them chapters 1 through 5 of The Giver. They're going to have a 1 through 5 reading quiz by the time that reading is supposed to be done, and they get one shot at it. Now, to relieve some stress on that, those reading quizzes aren't weighted the same as regular assignments. They're actually weighted at 0.25 as opposed to a whole point. So that means if the kid does, score really poorly on it, like a 1 out of 5 or something, it's not going to have as big of an impact on their overall score as the other assisted assignments will. All right, so those reading quizzes are the only thing that's not revisable. Everything else that we do, particularly the assignments like in Google Docs or Google Classrooms, they are revisable. Once I grade those and send those back to the kids, if they want to go in and improve the mistakes that I've noted and resubmit for an improved grade, they can. But I've showed the kids this video countless times, and I have sent so many assignments back when the kiddos haven't revised correctly. But there is a very particular way that I like the kids to go through and make their revisions that helps me regrade those assignments faster, and it helps me kind of see the child's train of thought from their first attempt, my suggestion as to what they could do to get the answer correct their second try, to their second, third, fourth, fifth attempts, whatever it may be. And in this email, I'm going to actually attach a link to this video, but I'll go ahead and show you. There we go. So if you go to Google Classroom and you search, or if you go to Google Classroom to the videos topic, I have this video posted here, making revisions to improve your grade. If you go to YouTube and type that same thing in, making revisions to improve your grade, here is the video. And I'm going to attach a link in this email for you all to check this video out as well. And I have made the kids aware of this. I have reminded, and still there are so many students who are going in and just erasing everything they did the first time and starting from scratch, which makes it more difficult for me to go back because I have to regrade the entire assignment. And it doesn't help me by seeing, what their first attempt was, what my suggestion was, and then how their thinking changed, how their thinking developed. So if you all would, please review this video. Make sure your children understand that there is a particular way to grade revisions, because I made them aware that from here on out, if they don't do their revisions properly, I am not going to regrade or reassess their work, and they're going to be stuck with the grade they've got because they have to follow that procedure. Otherwise, it's just more unnecessary work on my end, and it doesn't allow me to see, like I've said, how their thinking had developed throughout that assignment. So that's all I've got for this week. A little side note, I am going to be taking off, and I will remind all of you this when the time gets a little bit closer, but my baby is due on October 30th is the first day of my leave. That is the date that my wife and I are going to induce. And I'm going to take off the entire month of November, so 3 weeks plus 2 days, and I'm going to come back on December 2nd. Now for 8th grade, I've already drafted out 3 weeks worth of lesson plans that I'm going to get to work on. I'll be, canning those and making videos so that I can have, my face showing to the kids as much as possible. And if we can keep a secret, I might pop in on occasion and, still meet with the kids when I can, but don't tell anybody. For 7th grade, today in our PLC meeting, I'm going to, let the other teachers know what my days are that I'm going to be out, my weeks, I should say. But I've never taught 7th grade before this year, so it's going to be a bit more difficult for me to, easily can 3 weeks worth of lessons since I've never taught any of this content. So I'm hoping they can help me out, point me in the direction of some things that are, would be fairly simple and easy for the kids to do without me there with them, hovering over their shoulder to immediately help them if they need it. But I just want you all to know that I am going to be taking off for 3 weeks, but your kids are going to be in good hands. The sub that we're getting is a really good sub. He's been in our school for quite a while, and I'm still going to be popping in from time to time, even though I'm not technically supposed to be. And I'll be around if anybody needs me, if anybody needs any help. So that being said, I'm going to go ahead and sign out. If you all have any questions, please don't hesitate to shoot me an email and let me know. Your kids are doing awesome. I know this year is not ideal, and there are a lot of new and kind of strange stressors that we're having to deal with. But we're making it through just fine. We're going to get there. It's all going to be okay. It's all going to work out. So please let me know if you have any questions or concerns, and I'll see you down the road. Have a good rest of your day.